using the collection variables set method. So now again I will show here there are no variables now. So I will send the request, and then if I go to RESTful API, now you will see a variable was created called item ID, and the value from the response, this value was saved as the current value to merge my changes to the original. So in that case, I can create a pull request. So you can give a title, I will say remove folder, and then you can give a description, and yeah, you can add the reviewers as well, and you can create the pull request. Now the reviewers will also see, and you will see the merge option as well, and what happened, the changes it shows. Hello my dear friends, welcome back to QE Bro, your favorite YouTube channel. So last week we were discussing about Postman, the tool which we use for API manual testing. And last week we just discussed about the basic things related to Postman. I mentioned that one video will not be enough to cover like all the features available with Postman. So we have to do a couple of more videos. So today is the second day on our Postman series. Today we can discuss about some advanced features available like variables, environments, and so on. So last week, if you can remember, we used one of these free APIs available, and we created this API request, the same collection I will be using. So now you know what workspace, collection, request, those terms you are familiar with. So I'm using the same collection as we did. So this is the exact same place where we stopped last week. The three requests, one, the post request to add objects, then the particular get request using the ID from the post request, and the delete with the same ID to delete the object, likewise we discussed. So there we had one issue, like if you use this particular method, for example, okay, like I will explain it. So we first send this add object method, we send the post request with this body data. So it will create a new object, and then it will send the resource ID. So this is the ID for our newly created product. Then we need to use this particular ID for our next two requests. This particular request, the get request, is to get the data back to retrieve the object. So you will see. And then we have this particular delete request to delete the particular resource. So however, you can see object was deleted. So however, now if we do manual testing, yeah, that's fine. You can manage it. So you can first send the post request, then you can extract out the ID value from the response, and then you can put the value on the URL on the get object and also on the delete request, and then you can achieve what you need. But if you run this via automation, then or else, yeah, even if you do this manually, then it is very like every time when you want to do this, you need to manually do this ID extract out, then yeah, there could be human errors as well, and also it's time consuming, and also yeah, we can't do the automation in this. So in that case, we need to come up with a new solution for this. So the best option is like first we can send the post request, and then once the response is received, we need to find a method to extract out this particular ID from the response, and then maybe we can save it to a variable, and then we can use the particular variable here on the URL instead of the ID. So in that case, every time, since the post request will be sent first, so it will be sent, response received, ID will be extracted out, and it will be saved as the variable. And next, when we send the particular get request, the particular variable will have a value. So in that case, the new ID will be sent. So yeah, sounds like a plan, right? So now the problem is like, how can we do these things? How to create the variable, how to extract out the particular ID value, those things. So yeah, don't worry, Postman has all these feasibilities, the features are there. You can manage variables. And also for creating the variables, also there are different ways. Either like you can manually go and add the variable, or else second method, like the second method is what we need to extract out the value from the response and save it to the variable. So that can be done through the scripts here. So scripts we saw last week. So scripts are used to create the test cases. And here using JavaScript, you can write some code snippet to extract out the particular value from the response and save it as a variable. So those are the two methods you can create variables. And also there are different places where variables can be. So now you know different the terms like the workspace, collection, request response, likewise. So at these different levels, we can create the variables as well. So you can create global variables. So these global variables can be used throughout different collections. So currently I have only one collection called RESTful API. So if I create another API, or else let's say if we have another component, so then I can create another collection. So if we create a global variable, so the global variables can be accessed through both of these collections. So that is one level. So the next level is like you can create the variables inside the collection. So if you create a variable for this RESTful API collection, so that cannot be used from the other collection, but this particular variable can be accessed through all these folders and the requests. So that is the another level. So the last level is like, so you can create the variables at the locally. So that means at particular request. So that cannot be used from the other places as well. And also another place is there, the environment variable. So I didn't mention it here because still we haven't discussed about the environments. I will come to the environments later. But so you can remember, you can save variables as environments as well at the environment level. So those are different levels or different places where you can save the variables. Then the access based on the place, the access will be different for these particular variables. And here on the Postman, on the right panel, you will see there are like different options here. Here at the top, so this particular icon, so if you click this icon, you can open this panel. On this panel, you can see current variables, all those will be visible here. So here also you can see based on different level, environmental level variables, collection level variables, global level variables. Likewise, different variables will be shown in these places. And also there is something called vault. I will come that to later. So now if you need, let's say if you need to manually create a variable, so you can go and from here you can click that icon. For example, let's say I want to create a variable at the collection level. So I can click on that. So then it will come to this particular view. Here also, if you click on the collection will be open. And here there is the tab called variables. So you can give the variable name and the value. Key value pairs. Likewise, you can view. And here also you will see there are two options like the initial value and the current value. So the initial value means like when we create this particular collection, so we can have kind of a default value. So when you share the collection, then all the people will get this initial value. But if you want to run the test case, let's say with a different value. So in that case, you can use this particular current value field. If the current value field is empty, then it will use initial value. But if when you run the test case, if there is a value for the current value, then this is the value which will be used in your script, so in your request as the variable value. So that is like one place where you can create the variables. So yeah, first I will show you one example. Okay, I will first send this request. Yeah, we send, okay, I will resend the request, and from here we can extract out this particular value, and then I will go to my collection. So here at the variables, I will create a new variable. So you need to give the variable name. So I will give as item ID, and then you need to give value, initial value. So since the same for the current, I will not give, but it will automatically add, and I will save it. Okay. Now then I will go to this particular request. Here instead of putting the ID, I will use the variable. So how you can use variables? So to use variables, you can put this curly braces 2 times. So then it will start to give suggestions of all the variables. So here you can see this is the variable you create, and here you can see the values as a scope collection. So that's why here C. So that means this is the variable has been created at the collection level. So other than that, here you will see some other variables as well, those which we didn't create, but these are like some global variables which Postman has created already. So for example, like if you want to use the current time, if you want to generate a random integer, a random phone number, a random country, likewise. So you don't need to waste your time in creating scripts to generate these things, so you can easily use these available global variables in case if you need one of these values. Okay, however, so this is my created variable, so I will use it. And then you can see two curly braces, then the variable name, and close by two curly braces again. And here now if I take I hover over the variable. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Now you can see the current value as sent, and then I will send my request. If you send, now you can see that it's passed. So here, though we put as item ID, it actually use the value. Okay, so if you want to like see whether it was actually sent on the request, here you can either go to the console, and on the console you can see I will first clear the console, okay, and I will resend it. And now again you can see the request is on the console. So you can use this console for debugging purposes as well. So here now you can see this is the request, and here instead of the item ID, the value from the variable was added and the request was sent. And you can see other information, request response, all those information you can see there as well. Okay, so that is about the console as well. Okay, so then now okay, we can achieve this using the manual. But now our problem is like how we can do this using these scripts. Okay, so now yeah, let me show that part. So first what we will do is like, okay, let me delete this so then I can show. Okay, now you will see there are no variables here. And in that case here, if you come back, now it shows in red color because there is no such variable. So I will keep it. And now what we need to do is like we send the request, post request, and from the response we need to extract it out and save it as the variable in the automation way through the scripts. Yeah. So I come to the scripts tab here, and now I will create a variable first. So using JavaScript. So yeah, you can define a variable called let. So I will put as response body because I want to first save this whole JSON first into a variable. Then from the whole JSON, I will extract out the ID parameter, the key. And then from the key, I can extract out the value because the rest we don't need. But again, yeah, since like we first need to save the whole JSON response, so then we can play with the values inside the response. So you know, using PM, you can access the API here. Then you can use all the existing methods. So I will use pm.response because I need to access the response, and then I need to convert the response, or I need to get it in the I need to get the JSON. So I will use this method JSON. Then I showed you like how you can use the console for debugging purposes. So here when you write the script as well, you can use this use the console for debugging purposes. So maybe let's try to print the response body to console and see whether it actually assigned some value to our variable. So I will use as console. Then you can use the method called log, console.log. Then you just need to pass the variable called response body. So now we are good. Let's try to send. Okay, I will first open the console and I will send the request. And here you can see the request or send. And here next part, the next line is what it was printed from the console.log. So using the response body, now it seems like we can get the whole response into a variable. Now what we need is like to just extract out the ID. So the key value pair we need to extract out. So that also you can easily do. And then first, let's say we will extract it out and we will save it as a variable at the collection level. So that you can again do using the Postman API PM. Then for the variables, if you try here, there will be different options. Like you can see variables, then collection variables. So those are like the different levels which I mentioned. I need to save this at the collection level because I need to access this through different folders, because here I need to access it from the get request folder and then the delete request folders likewise. So local variable will not work. I need to have it at the collection level, so then I can access it throughout these different the requests. So I will use the collection variables. Then I can access the method set. And there is another method called get. So you can use the get method if you want to access a variable through the script, and also if you want to set the variable, you can use the set. And also if you want to clear the clear method, like there are different methods available. So you can check the list here. Okay, so however, we need the set method. And for the set method, we need to pass first the variable key or the variable name. Last time we saved it as item ID. So the same. And then we need to pass what we need to have save as the value. So the key value pair. So next is value. So value what I need is from the response body, I need to extract out the ID. So now from my whole response body, ID will be extracted up. Okay, before doing this, I'll here. Now here you saw the whole response was printed. Now instead of the whole response, let's try to print only the ID because we need just the ID. So I will access it as, so this is my whole object. In my object, ID is there. Then name created likewise. But here if you come to data, data is another object. So you need to access year, then you need to use as data.year likewise. Okay, so I'm going to access the ID. Now let's see the console. Here you can see only the ID. This ID value was extracted out. So it seems our code will work. So now it's time to save the variable using the collection variables set method. So now again I will show here there are no variables now. So I will send the request. Okay. And then if I go to RESTful API, collection level and variables tab, now you will see a variable was created called item ID and the value from the response. This value was saved as the current value. Now you can simply use item ID, the variable here in these two places. So here also I will use. Okay, now let's try out. First I will send my post request to create object. Okay, created and you can see the ID is 872, the last three digits. And then I will use my get request to retrieve the same. And here you will see, okay, the same was retrieved 872. Then I will send my delete request. So using the same variable and you will see 872 deleted. Then again, if I put the get request, it says it's all not found 872. So now you can see every time when you call this, every time it will replace the variable. So likewise, you can do these things in the automation. Now I hope it's clear the variables part and how you can set the variable using the script and extract out value from one response and then to include it in the next request. So likewise, you can create the request chains for the user flows. Okay, so that part is done. So now you know what variables are. So the next thing is about the environments. So related to environments, okay, let's say if I, yeah, here also I did, let's say, okay, here I have this all the URLs hard coded. That means like every request I put my URLs. But instead, what can you do is like at the collection level or at the global level, you can create a variable for the base URL and then you can use this particular base URL here. Okay, let's try out that as well. So I will go to my collection and at the collection variables, I will create a new method, new variable as base URL. And for the base URL, I will put this value up to div. Okay, I will put like this. Then now you know, here you can replace this particular part from your variable called base URL. So that is for the delete. Then, yeah, all the here objects part is also there if you need, yeah. Here up to the objects you can replace. Let's say I will put as the base URL the whole path and then here the objects you can remove. So now simply you can do it like this and then here I will again replace for all these requests. Then here as well. Oh no, here full path. Okay, let's try this out. Okay, but okay, I got some error. Okay, the error says RESTful API. Okay, why is that? Let's go to the variables and see. Okay, so it's because I put these objects endpoint only to the initial value, not to the current value. So again, okay. Due to that, yeah, that part was also tested. So now you know the use of initial and current values by experience. So even though you had the initial value, always it will use the current value when you do the execution. So I had to replace current value as well. So now if I try this, okay, now you can see it works. So you can use the base URL. So that is the use of variables again. And here also I will, let's say I will put, just give me a second. So here also I will put base URL. Okay. Now all the variables, okay, all are variables. No hard coded values there. So with the use is here, like if you change the URL now, you don't need to go to each request and change. You can come here and simply change it at one place. And also the use of environment is like, let's say at your organization you use different environments for different purposes. Maybe one environment for the developers, one environment for the quality engineers, one for the UAT likewise. So here if you use this particular collection and you created this at the QA level, and then if you want to run this at the dev level, so all these endpoints are different. And not only the endpoints, maybe if you were using some authorization parameters, tokens, all these things will be different from environment to environment. So in that case, if you share this collection, or if you want to run this on a different environment, then you need to go and manually update all these things, all the values, all the variables. Yeah, it's one place at the variables, but again, yeah, you need to go and update the variables. That is also some pain, right? Because there could be mistakes. So that's why these environments are there. So now you can create different environments and store these values different or separately from at environment levels. For example, so let's say this is my dev URL for the dev environment. And for my QA environment, the base URL here will have QA. For UAT, here UAT. Instead of come and change in here the variables, if you want to run it on different environments, you can simply create multiple environments and you can save this base URL at the environment level. Then from here, you can switch between environments and run it. I will show that. So I will go to here, the environment. I will click on create environment. Then I will give a name. So I will give as dev my environment. Now I will save the variables at the environment level. So this is like more top level. So if you save these inside the environment level, these variables you can access through all the collections at this workspace. So here, now what I need to do is like, yeah, I will close these things. The base URL, instead of saving at the collection level, I will save it at the environment level. Okay, and then from here I will delete this. Okay, so now you know at collection level I have only the item ID. Then at environment level I have the URL. And also here you can save it. Default means you can see it as the plain text. If you put as secret, so you won't be able to see it in plain text. So for security purposes, you can do that as well. So that option is also there. Okay, so now, however, like I created one environment called dev, and at the dev environment level, I saved my variable base URL. Then you can create another the variable if you need. As let's say, this one I will name as QA environment. Two environments. For the QA environment also, I will have the same key, but the value will be different. So instead of using this here, let's say I will change it as QA. So actually, I don't think this particular service have such URL endpoint. So, but however, for demo purposes, I will use it like this. So, okay, now if you go here, now you can see all my environments are visible. And if you change, what will be changed is like these variable values will be different. So now you can go to this each request, and okay, I will first, let's say I want to run it on the dev environment. So now I don't need to go and change the base URL. So I just need to switch between from here, dev and QA. I will switch to dev and I will send the request. You can see, okay, it was successful. I will go to the console just to show you again. Okay, so here you can see here .dev is there. So that means the variable which we saved for the dev environment. Then I will switch it to QA environment from here. And now this time if I send the request, Yeah, obviously the request should fail because there is no such endpoint with the service. But I just want to show you on the console that the request will have the updated variable which we added for the QA environment. This I think might take some time till the timeout occurs, so else I will cancel. Yeah. And here if you check on the URL, the request it has .qa. So that is the purpose of having different environments. So now no need to change the variables even. You can simply manage different environments like prod UAT likewise. So you just need to switch between environments and the correct variable values will be assigned in your request. So that is about the environments. Okay, so today we discussed about the variables and then how to extract variables and save in the scripts and about the environments as well, yeah, and also how to debug using the console. Other than that, so let's quickly check about the other things which we have. And also here, yeah, this is the again the variable place. Now you can see at environment place we have the base URL and variables in request collection likewise at different variables are there. So that's about the variables section. So here then about the documentation. So you know when you work with the APIs, it's always you need to generate or you need to create this documentation. So then only the other people will know like how you can use these services. So in that case, either you have to do these things manually and it is very painful. So you have to spend a lot of time from your sprint for the documentation purposes. But with Postman, thanks to the Postbot, yeah, the AI integration, you can generate these documentations by just one click. So here you will see the option called generate with Postbot. So if you click there, the Postbot you can see, so it says working on the documentation. So yeah, and then here you will see for the post request, it created the documentation. So it gave some detailed information and then it clearly defined like all the body parameters what need to be sent and the type and some information, and then also it gave about the response and what is the success response status code and some example response values. And also if you since like here I used authorization, if you can remember we put this authorization for demo, so it included those things as well in our documentation. So likewise, a complete documentation was created using Postbot. So it will save you a lot of time. Then the comments. The comments are useful if you are collaborating with your team. Here, if you want to ask any questions, so you don't need to send emails or send screenshots and ask in the chat. Here, simply you can put a comment and tag people. So you know, last time when we create this workspace, at the workspace settings level, you can put like who can access this workspace. So if you put this to team, and then if you assign people to the team, okay, let's say, okay, I will put as yeah everyone from the QA team. And here also you can now see you can connect Slack team, those as well. Integrations also you can do. And here, let's say who is this QA team? Yeah, it's the team. Okay, then yeah, okay, I will close it and then I will go to again my request comments. And now here you can put at sign and then all the members teams will be visible. So then you can tag them and then could you please review this? Let's say I will add a comment. And then likewise you can reply. So just let's say likewise you can play with it. And also if you let's say if it is done, you can resolve. Then resolve ones will be moved out from here and you can see those things under the resolve comment section. Okay, so likewise you can use this comment section for the collaboration purposes as well. So now you see Postman is not only for your API testing purposes, you can use it for the documentation and it can be used for your collaboration purposes as well. Not only that, I will show more. So then here you can use this to generate code snippets as well if you want to create different code snippets like based on different language you use. If you want to create using C#, or else if you want to use Java, and Java different libraries are also there. Let's say likewise. And also if you want to get the curl request or the PHP using likewise, you can generate the code snippets as well. Then you can simply copy paste this into your code. So that is another purpose. Okay, then here also you can see like some other information like related requests from the public API network. We discussed about the API network. So it will like try to find similar requests, so similar APIs to the one which we used, and those things are listed here from the public network. And also, yeah, then so here we discuss about those things. And then if you check at the bottom, okay, so some options like here online in sync means, as I mentioned, if you invite different people to your team, those people will see all the changes in real time. So that is here it shows as in sync. And if you want to do a find and replace, you don't need to go one by one here. You can simply do it using a regex. So that option is also there. And the console, yeah, we saw it, how to use the console for debugging purposes. Then as I mentioned here, then again, let's come to now the left panel, panel by panel. Collections we discussed, we know everything about. Then the environments, yeah, we discussed it. And then here we have the flows. Flows I will keep for a next week video because otherwise it will be too much. This is like separate part which we need to talk. And then the history. History can be used. So as I mentioned, so if I do some change here, it will be synced with all my team members. Now there will be a concern what will happen if someone did a mistake. So because now if there are 10 members in my team, all the 10 members will get the change at the real time. So that's why the history is there. So here you can see and check who did the change, and you can revert the change, and likewise the history is also maintained at Postman level. So no need for you to go with any version controlling system. So that is also done through the Postman. And then here, if you want to configure your sidebar, so those options are there. So you can here enable, disable different options like you have. Currently, I have enabled collections, environments, flows, and also other than that, there are some other features as well like APIs, mock servers, monitors. So these things, mock servers, monitors, I will discuss in another week's video. And then here if you want to change the color here, yeah, let's show me. So if I put it to green and apply theme, okay, you can see everything got updated. So the use, what is the use? Yeah, you can update it, or else like let's say if your team want to maintain, otherwise like if you use multiple workspaces, then it will be a bit hard for you to differentiate between those different workspaces. So this is a good way. You can have different colors for workspaces. So then even without like checking, okay, if you even by mistake you go to a different workspace, then by even by the color you can quickly identify, okay, I'm not at the right workspace. And also here is the option final to delete the workspace as well. Okay, so those things also we discuss. I went through these things very quickly because there is nothing much, just the settings related part. And here then Postbot, you can access the chat. It's similar to the chat GPT or else the GitHub Copilot which we have discussed. Here you can use the Postbot chatbot to ask any questions for debugging purposes. And here also you saw how to generate test cases using Postbot and how to generate documentation. Like for likewise, or for all these purposes, you can use the Postbot. And also, yeah, similar to ChatGPT, you can ask here anything and it will answer, yeah, it related to your workspaces and API request and all this stuff. Then the runner. This also I will keep for the next week. This part is related to the automation. Let's say if you save it in variables, the passwords or tokens for those things, secure things. But when you share these things, the collection, then there will be a problem. By even mistake, you share one of your internal collection with outside. So all these secrets will be revealed. So in that case, so such sensitive information, instead of saving as variables, you can use the vault. So I will show you. So what can we put? Okay, I will use here, if you can remember, under authorization, I put my password. So here also it will show, okay, here also it shows use variables instead to keep sensitive, okay, however. So here password, I will remove the value from here and I will go to vault and I will create my secret. So secret also, the vault also have key value pair. So I will put as password And here I will give the value, QE, the value which I wanted to give. And here, okay, yeah, so you can see the value and I will save it. So I saved it in the vault. Now, similar way as you access the variables, you can use these variables as well. But instead of like just putting the two curly braces, you need to mention vault. Then it will list down all the variables inside the vault. Okay, so I will go to my request here. So here I will go to editor and here now I will try to access from the vault. So here no need to put vault as well. Here you will see with V, that means vault. The password is visible. Okay, then I will go back to console and let's say I will go to my object and I will send. And then here if you check on the request headers, authorization, basic, and it will be sent. So likewise you can use the vault as well. So that is the use of vault to store your sensitive information instead of using the other variable options. So here then again if you then go to the place where you see these variables under vault you will see, but again it will be not visible. You can turn it on off from here, and then when you share this sensitive information will be saved with you. Okay, then what's next? Okay, and again I mentioned that about, let me close all these things. Okay, so then I mentioned that when you receive a collection, either you can update on the same one, but then since there is a risk of like you will lose the original and you will update the original, instead of that you can fork these things. The fork we have already discussed on the GitHub, so you know what fork means. So fork is available with Postman as well. So here once you receive the collection you can click on these three dots and here there will be option called create a fork, and you can create the fork. You can give a fork name, the workspace and environment, those things you can select, and then you can create the fork. And then here you will see my fork is there. So now instead of updating the original files, you can work on your own on your fork, because this fork is with you, your personal one. So any change you do here will not be synced to the original one and it won't be affect other team members as well. So this is the best way to do. So now let's say I just delete this one. It's easy to show. Okay, I delete one folder totally from my fork. Now I can put the pull request. So you know again what pull requests are. So then you can create the pull requests. And also yeah, if you want to pull changes from the original, you can pull the changes as well. Similar way related to the GitHub, pull requests, pull push, those things are there. So you can either pull changes. And also now what I need to do is like I need to ask to merge my changes to the original. So in that case, I can create a pull request. So again, I click on the three dots and here you will see option called create pull request. So you can give a title. I will say removed folder. And then you can give a description and yeah, you can add the reviewers as well and you can create the pull request. Okay, and then now the reviewers will also see and you will see the merge option as well and what happened, the changes it shows from the RESTful API get requests, the folder was removed and all these things were removed, all this information are there. And it shows you can now merge pull request from the QEBro fork to the original. So this is the original and this is my fork. Now let's just, okay, I will approve it myself and I will merge it. And then merge changes, yeah, and update source merge. Now here keep an eye. Okay, now you see get requests or deleted from the original collection as well. So that's the use of fork and the pull requests. Okay, so now you know Postman is not only for your API testing purposes. Now you can do more with Postman. Yeah, you can use it for your API testing. You can use it for your scripting. So then you after that you can use it for generating code, and also you can use it for generating the documentation, and also you can use it for the collaboration purposes with the team, and also you can use this for version controlling as well. So instead of using different other multiple products for version controlling or for communication, collaboration. Likewise, instead of using multiple platforms, now you can achieve all these things within one product, within Postman. So, and also all these things I did using my free account. That is also need to mention. If you need to do more, you can upgrade as well. So likewise, now today, in today's video, we saw a lot of other features, advanced part. And for the next week, we have the runner related to the automation part, those things, and there are other different ways as well which you can use to do the automation and the performance here. So those things we can see in our future videos. So I think this is enough for today. Give a try to these features, and if you have any questions, you can reach me out through the comment section or qvbro.pro@gmail.com. I'm really happy to help you guys with all your queries. So see you then, and happy testing till next week.